Music is like root work, magic that's pulled up from the soil. It echoes on the stony hills and spins in the tall grass by the sea. It soothes the savage beast and pierces the soul of a man. Music is that old witchcraft. It writes your true name on a scrap of paper and makes you dance undignified like King David. This is the Hoodoo Music Podcast.
Imagine for a moment, you're driving down a lonely, dark highway. All of a sudden, in your headlights, you see a stranger dressed in black on the side of the road. He's holding out his thumb, and in his hand is a guitar case. That stranger, no matter where you are, is Gray Lee. What's up, man?
Hey, how's it going, man?
It's good. This is the Hoodoo Music Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I'm joined on this episode by Gray Lee, one of the most talented songwriters I've ever met, and somebody I've had the pleasure of working with on and off for several years. How you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing good. It's nice to be back in this room again.
The room where we've recorded so many of your songs that have never been released.
Countless hours just thrown into the abyss that is our massive recording projects.
Well, why don't we just jump right into some music? What's the name of the song? What's it about?
This song is called Sing Hallelujah, and it's kind of a neo-blues song that I wrote for my new album. I don't know what it's about. It's about a character that travels through a bunch of different situations in kind of this fantasy landscape. It's like a spiritual journey. It's the only way I can explain it.
Cool. Here's Sing Hallelujah.
Stopped in Mississippi for a cool drink of water. Found an old black man by the roadside. He had a cardboard sign that said, "I'm on my way to see sweet Jesus." Made it to Louisiana before he died. Sing hallelujah.
Once again, Gray Lee is the special guest on this episode of the Hoodoo Music Podcast. Before the song, you mentioned that it's written from a perspective of a character. You write a lot of character songs.
I do. I write a lot in third person. I'm just more comfortable writing that way, telling someone else's story other than my own.
Yeah, sure. I guess sometimes it's hard to draw from a place of absolute honesty when you're writing. If you're writing a song from your own experience, sometimes maybe it's easier to write from a perspective that you can understand, maybe through the lens of your own experience. Or
I do. I mean, anyone that writes, they're going to put themselves into what they write, but I'm just not terribly interested in hearing about myself. And I don't know that anybody else would be either, but I can tell a story and, I get a reaction immediately out of the people that are listening to me.
Sure. Well, I mean, your entire performance is a story. I mean, Gray Lee is not even your real name.
No.
It's a character.
Everything I do is fiction in some way or another.
That's pretty cool. It's not like it's never been done, but you have a very unique way of doing it.
Yeah, and it was all kind of accidental. I didn't really mean for it to happen that way.
How did it happen? Where did Gray Lee come from?
Well, I went to an open mic a really long time ago, and at the time I was just writing a whole bunch of music. I didn't do anything but write at home, and I didn't have an outlet at all. And my friend Jacob, he's been on your show, Jacob Johnson, he says, you can't just, sit at home writing music. That's not how it works. You have to share it with other people. And I said, I'm not a performer, though. I just write, so I'm not really comfortable doing that. And he said, yeah, you got to do it anyway. It's going to change who you are as a writer, and you need that. And so I said, okay, I'll do it. And we went out to an open mic, and Ray Gunther was there, who's an absolutely great open mic host. And he goes to introduce me, and he just reads my name, my government name off of the open mic list. And I instantly realized that this is not going to work at all. And let's just say, we'll just say my name was Percy Windhorse, like a name that doesn't sound musical at all. And so he just calls out, all right, we're going to have Percy Windhorse up here on the stage. And then I go, no, okay. And so then I walk up there with my head hung low, and, it was fine. Everybody enjoyed what I did, but I didn't at all. And so I told Jacob that, something has to change. So I wrote about 150 names down on a sheet of paper. Like we decided to do like a project, kind of like the Alan Parsons Project. There was people in and out of that. That was our example anyway. And so I decided on The Voyage of Gray Lee. I thought that sounded good, like a Jules Verne novel. And so then I went back to the open mic like a couple of months later, and I wrote that down on the list, The Voyage of Gray Lee. And so then, Ray Gunther gets up there and he introduces, all right, we're going to have The Voyage of Gray Lee up here. And then, I walked up to the front, and the people are looking around like, where's the other people in the group? And there weren't any. There was just me. And so then I realized that you can't name yourself as a band and then just have one person show up.
I don't know. I mean, there are plenty of one-man bands.
That's true.
Bright Eyes and...
True. But I couldn't do that. So we got rid of The Voyage of, and the rest of it stuck.
That's pretty... Well, it did stick.
It did.
Because most people don't know you as anything other than Gray Lee. I knew you for probably 6 or 7 years before I knew that your name wasn't actually Gray Lee.
Well, yeah, like the more people that I get introduced to is that, then that's what they called me. And so even now, somebody will say, "Is that your name?" And I'll say, "Well, that's what they call me," because it is what they call me, and I'm fine with it. It allows me to separate my stage persona from my personal life, which is good because that's what I do with my music anyway. I separate it out.
Yeah, I mean, the stage persona is different because in real life you're just kind of a normal guy. Stage persona is this dark, spooky guy who writes a lot of songs about death.
That's true. I do present normalcy in real life. I appear completely normal. I work in an office and I work on a computer and I answer the phone and I do stuff like that. And nobody knows that I'm writing songs about zombies and pirates and
or
ghosts.
Decapitation.
Or love songs that also include decapitation or, things like that.
Well, since that's what the next song is about, what's this song?
I always introduce this as a love song. It's probably the sweetest song that I have. And it's a little piece of Travelers Rest history. It's based on a local legend about the headless rider of the no, spoiler alert, the headless rider of the Swamp Rabbit Trail. And I wrote a little song about the legend, and it's called "The Altamont." There's a hotel on a mountain in Travelers Rest. They call it the Altamont. I'm going there to see a long-haired girl that stays at the Altamont. I'll ride my white horse up the Swamp Rabbit line on the way to the Altamont. Hoofbeats on gravel, that girl's gonna be mine. The girl from the Altamont. Yes, I'm going there to see that long-haired girl that stays at the Altamont. I'll take her out dancing and we'll fall in love. The girl from the Altamont. Is frightened by the sound of the train on the way to the Altamont. I fall out of the saddle, tangled up in the reins on the way to the Altamont. And he's dragging me, I'm in agony all the way to the Altamont. And I lost my head on the railroad bed on the way to the Altamont, where that horse ran many miles to the downtown square on the way to the Altamont. And the people at the train station all stood and stared. Ring the bell for the Altamont. I was going there to see that long-haired girl that stays at the Altamont. But a riderless horse dragging my headless corpse runs away from the Altamont.
hear my voice on the way to the Altamont. I drift up and down, calling to my lost horse on the way to the Altamont.
So, Gray, you like telling stories.
Yes.
And you like telling stories in song. What got you into music? Like, what prompted you to take your stories and put them into a musical form?
I started playing guitar between middle school and high school. I actually earned the money to buy my first guitar by picking corn and selling it on the side of the road with my granddaddy. And he said, I'm going to give you a cut of the profits. And I said, I want to buy a guitar. And he said, well, that's a good idea. You should do that. So we ordered a guitar from JCPenney, and it came in the mail. And I was really worried when I first got it because it was out of tune, and I was really concerned that they had sent me an out of tune guitar. But I fixed it. I keep having to tune them though every time I get one. But I really, as soon as I learned a new chord, I would just write a song to remember the chord with. And so I had all these, I would just have a new song every single time I learned a chord. And
that's cool.
Yeah, so my first song only had 1 or 2 chords in it.
Sure.
And I really didn't ever get past 3 or 4 chords. But I managed to make songs out of them anyway. And so, I was already, at a very early age writing lyrics. I preferred playing my own songs instead of trying to learn other people's songs. And I got really interested in college in the music of the late 60s and early 70s. And I really got into Pete Townsend. Mm. And Pete Townsend is an amazing writer. He can really tell a story.
Quadrophenia, man.
Oh, that's the best.
Dude, as an aside, I found a 1973 vinyl pressing of Quadrophenia the other day at Horizon.
Oh, I would like to see that.
Oh my gosh. It was in pristine condition too. I put that on my turntable, listened to it, and it was a different experience than hearing it digitally. It actually sounds different. It's mixed differently, too, than the digital release.
That would be an amazing experience. I think my first experience was on cassette. And I don't remember. It may have been a 2-cassette volume. I'm not really sure. It's a long piece of music. It's not as long as Tommy. I think Tommy was 4 sides, wasn't it?
Quadrophenia's 4 sides.
Is it?
Tommy is, I think they're both 4 sides, actually.
Okay. Well, I really liked Tommy a lot, but I enjoyed Quadrophenia more. I think it had more of a, I don't know, there's more audio in it, I felt like. I felt like it had more atmosphere.
Sure.
Than Tommy did. Tommy was more lyrical.
Well, some of the subject matter, it seems like did that have kind of an influence on the way, the kinds of stories you tell?
Yeah, I like to tell a story, but I like it to sound good too. And so I like to start in one place and kind of get somewhere else and get into another headspace with the way that the music sounds.
Sure. Well, what other kinds of who else I guess influenced you? If Pete Townsend is a storyteller and musician.
In college I was really into The Who. I was really into Pink Floyd. Pink Floyd's another big band that had a really strong sense of place, some atmosphere. They had a lot of movements in their music, and I like stuff like that. So I wanted to write rock operas. That's what I wanted to do. And so I wrote 2 or 3 of them.
The first time I ever heard you play was a rock opera you wrote called The Ballad of the Cursed Troubadours.
The Ballad of the Cursed Troubadours. Now that was something special. We sold out that Coffee Underground Theater in downtown Greenville by word of mouth alone, doing that rock opera. And that was a long time ago, though. That was back in 2005. It was. I remember you. You were in the front row
But yeah, that was fun. That was fun. My other rock operas were longer and more complicated, and I felt like we wouldn't be able to pull it off because they wanted us to do a rock opera. So we actually wrote that one just to play there. They told us we were doing a November show in early September, and so we spent 2 months writing a rock opera just to play there.
Wow.
And I wrote about 30 songs for it. And I think we played about 15 of them. But yeah, I like the creepy stuff. That's where I really spend a lot of my time. So anything like that, I'm up for it.
That's the next song, right?
Yeah, this one's called Dead Country, and I get a lot of my ideas from reading. I like George MacDonald. If you ever read any of his work, you're a reader. I mean, you would dig his stuff. It'll mess your head up. He was regarded as many as the grandfather of fantasy writing. And he wrote this book called Lilith late in life. And it's really unclear whether he meant for it to be the way it is or, there was a little bit of dementia setting in. But some of the soundscapes that I get from reading that book, just really surreal, kind of otherworldly feelings. And there's a place in that book where there's some dead characters that kind of come to life, and there's some dancing skeletons and stuff like that. And that's kind of where this song comes from. It's kind of a scenery piece for a larger idea.
Looks like I wandered in the dead country, the dead country, the dead country. Well, it looks like I wandered in the dead country, the dead country, the dead country. The trees are made up of skeleton bones. Tell me who would even take the time to pile them up? There's a bird on the branch staring at me. I don't even think it has a voice with which to sing, because it looks like I wandered in the dead country, the dead country, the dead country. Well, it looks like I wandered in the dead country, the dead country, the dead country. The caskets lay open and exposed, and nobody stays where they've been put, and the looks that they are giving, the only ghost in the land of the dead is the living. It looks like I wandered in the dead country, the dead country, the dead country. Well, it looks like I wandered in the dead country, the dead country, the dead country. It's always night, it's never June. My eyes stay wide while I crawl through the tomb. I lost my flashlight down in the gloom. I have to find my way by the light of the moon. I said it looks like I wandered in the dead country, the dead country, the dead country. Well, it looks like I wandered in the dead country, the dead country, the dead country. The eerie black lake could swallow me whole, so I stay far away from the edge of the waves. This pale dead faces deep down in the black, they could pull me down a dark hole and never bring me back, because it looks like I wandered in the dead country, the dead country, the dead country. Well, it looks like I wandered in the dead country, the dead country, the dead country. A letter was delivered by a crow. I had to use a candle 'cause the ink, it was invisible. Words that are written on a scroll scream to me in the silent hour. Looks like you wandered in the dead country, the dead country, the dead country. Well, it looks like you wandered in the dead country, the dead country, the dead country. country. Yes, it looks like I wandered in the dead country, the dead country, the dead country. It looks like I wandered in the dead country, the dead country, the dead country.
So before that last song, you were talking a bit about soundscapes and the kind of things you hear in your head. And having worked with you before, I've noticed that you have a tendency to be able to build these layers upon layers of sounds that create a whole. Actually, I'll just go ahead and tell our audience right now. You are the one who did the intro to this show.
Yes, I did.
Which is pretty cool. I mean, I sent you something I had written that I wanted as a voiceover, and you sent back not only the voiceover, but a guitar part and recordings of crickets and cicadas and this extra vocal track where you're, harmonizing with yourself.
Yeah, well, you sent me that note and said, well, this is what I'm going to do. I just need you to do this. And, you sent me this text, and I was supposed to just read it into a microphone, and I probably could have got that done in 15 minutes, but I just couldn't get my head into the right place. I needed to read against something. And so I remember sending you some kind of message, and I said, have you got the stuff that goes in the background yet? And you said, no, I was going to wait till you finished your part. And I said, oh, okay. Well, here's what I'm going to do. And I told my wife, I'm going to spend some time, and I'm just going to record something that I think would sound like what Mark's trying to do, and then I'll read over that. And then I'll take out that part and just send him the voiceover. And so then I decided to start with the guitar part so I would have some kind of rhythm to work off of. So I wrote a little guitar part real quick, just a little, kind of a southern swamp blues riff in open G, which is what you sent me. And then I liked that a lot, and so I just repeated that for a little bit. And then I decided that it needed some oohs and ahs in the background that would get me going. So I went in and put maybe 3 or 4 harmony tracks in there of just me going ooh, and I really liked that a lot. And then
it just turned into this whole...
Yeah, well, the microphone was sitting next to the door anyway, and I thought, well, the crickets are really loud, so I'll just set the microphone outside for a while. So I sat out on the porch and recorded that, and I really liked the crickets, and I was like, oh, I like that. And then I was ready to read. So then I figured out the place in the, what I'd recorded that would be the perfect place for me to read. And then I read with the metronome, and then I split it up and sent it to you.
Yeah, no, it was perfect. It was exactly what I wanted to hear in my head, and so I just took what you sent and assembled it. And you do a lot of recording on your own these days. I mean, in the past, you and I have worked together. One of your songs is up on my website, in fact, on rootdoctormedia.com. But you're doing a lot of your own recording at home these days.
Yeah, about a year ago, I did a crowdfunding campaign to do just an acoustic album, and I bought a really modest recording setup because I wanted to be able to come home at night and just get my ideas recorded right then. And I just wanted to do something really raw and personal. And so I decided to embark on this crazy journey of trying to record an album. So, I've been doing it for a while, and I'm really not in a big hurry to get it done. I mean, I would like to see it done, but I want it to be good. So I'm trying to find that balance between just re-recording the same stuff over and over again, just trying to get it perfect, and having it sound natural and
sure,
like I'm just sitting in my house.
Something that sounds polished but still relaxed and still
right.
Well, what's the name of the album?
The name of the album is Merely Departed. It's got a lot of more current songs on it. That the album that we're working on, that we've been working on for a while, for like
over half a decade,
6 years, something like that. That album's more
like established things that I'd written a long time ago that I just really wanted to get recorded. And this is more like, what am I doing right now? What am I like? As an artist, who am I? One of those kind of things. So it's a lot more, I guess you could say it's a lot more personal. It's a lot more just kind of where I am right now as an artist. So I like it a lot. I like where it's going.
So you had one more song for us. Is this on Merely Departed?
Yes, it's going to be on there. And it's called Whippoorwill. I probably wrote it about 3 years ago. And for a while, I was playing it in a dinner theater show at the Punkintown Opry, and I don't know how that happened. I played up there one time, and I ended up signing up with them to do some performances, and I ended up wearing a dog costume at some point. And then they had this comedy sketch where somebody had to dress up like a dog, and we all would, in a manner of speaking, we would all draw straws to see who had to be the dog that week. And I ended up in the dog costume a couple of times, and I thought, well, what am I doing here? But I was also the musical guest on the show. They would always have like a bluegrass band or somebody, but they wanted a solo performer. So I would come out on stage, and I had played a bunch of songs for them, but they really liked this one a lot. And so I ended up playing Whippoorwill every time I went up there. And so, yeah, I played it a lot.
What's it about?
It is a fairy tale. I took several well-known fairy tale tropes and just wove them all together and made this really fun storybook kind of song and set it to a real kind of mountain folk song sound. And I was planning to have fiddles and banjos and what have you, because I had all these bluegrass people hanging around, but we just never come up with an arrangement for it.
Sisters stoke the campfire, the coals are burning low. Sing to us that lullaby that we all used to know, about that girl from up the hill many a year ago, whose mother found her late one night in the freshly driven snow. Oh, the whippoorwill sing this solemn song. Good, but a ribbon mocker took her when she went out to gather the candlewood. She was stolen away on a crooked mare, and a chain put around her knee, in the cottage of the old witch woman out beyond the stony trees. Oh, the whippoorwill sing this solemn song. piece of gingerbread is better than none at all. And the voodoo queen that loved her like a daughter by the fall. She loosened her chain on a winter day to teach a child how to dance. But she pushed the old woman in the oven fire just as soon as she had the chance. Oh, the whippoorwill, sing a solemn song. Oh, the night bird will, she stay with us for long. Sisters stoke the campfire, the coals are burning low.
Well, thank you very much, Gray Lee, for appearing on the Hoodoo Music Podcast. Where can people find you on social media online? Run down the list.
Oh, wow. Let's see. You can go to MrMurderMayhem.com. That's MrMurderMayhem.com.
MrMurderMayhem.com.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. There's a lot of people out there named Gray Lee. But no one's got Mr. Murder Mayhem. I got that sewed up.
There's a rapper named Gray Lee, right? There's like an Asian rapper.
There's a Korean rapper named Gray Lee. And one time he sent me a friend request. And I think he was just checking me out to see what I was all about.
And you're like, man, I write beautiful songs about terrible things.
And also you could go to Twitter. It's the same thing, Mr. Murder Mayhem. Instagram is Mr. Murder Mayhem. For some reason, my Bandcamp is bandcamp.graylee.com or graylee.bandcamp.com, whatever their naming convention is. I can't remember. On Reverb Nation, I'm Gray Lee. I have a MySpace, but good luck finding that. I have no idea.
So, but mostly these days it's Facebook, Twitter.
Yeah, I usually just send people straight to my website now because it'll pretty much take you wherever you want to go. Anywhere that's creepy and disturbing, it'll take you there.
All right, well, make sure you check out Gray Lee online. Hey, remember, this show is available online on iTunes, Google Play. You can follow me on Twitter at Mark Jones Audio. There's actually a Facebook page now for the Hoodoo Music Podcast. It's facebook.com/Hoodoo Music Podcast. And from there, you can click the button that says Learn More. There are links there where you can subscribe on iTunes and Google Play. This show is also available at rootdoctormedia.com. But thank you so much for listening to the Hoodoo Music Podcast. We'll be back in 2 weeks. And in the meantime, how about tell your friends about the show?